Before this interview starts, if you can call it that, I have my own Discord server. I'm very active there and I stream and do voice calls almost every weekend. The server is a great place to see previews for my latest videos, since they come out every solar eclipse.
The fuck?
You can share artwork, shitpost, banter, joke, and just have fun with me.
Can't do anything, go cry in your bed, you noob.
I'm gonna get Twitter to cancel you.
Okay, here's your bottle of soy milk.
Does it have kink and NSFW? Yes, it does. Just verify your age.
Fuck is this shit?
Even contests with actual prizes. Come on and join my server, especially if you really enjoy my content.
Good evening, Bag. How are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing just fine. I woke up, I got food, and I got some nice, lovely people to talk to.
You're doing okay.
So, let's go ahead and jump straight into this. Let's go straight to the jugular. So, how long have you known K9X-Toons? How did you guys meet?
We first met on DeviantArt probably around 2015 to 2016. However, we didn't start interacting with each other until either 2017 or 2018 on Discord. He invited me to his server back in 2019, if I'm correct. Yeah, 2019.
So, what are your thoughts on him from the start versus what they are now?
If I'm gonna be honest, I actually was okay with talking with him for some time. Granted, he didn't talk that much, because how I actually met him on Discord was a little different from DeviantArt. He used to be on a former friends server before they nuked it, mainly because they were inactive from Discord as they were busy with college and whatnot. But I did get a friend request from K9, and basically, we only chat a couple times in the DMs. He invited me to his first server, and not really much was happening at the time, and he was pretty tolerable at first glance.
Well, that's nice to hear. Sorry, it's just meeting these other servers for a second. But you did mention that you wanted to say some good things about K9 before, we got into the big problem. So, what's some of that you want to share with us?
Well, first, let's debunk a couple things and whatnot. The first thing I want to debunk is the high school thing from your previous interviews. K9 told me in his second server, and by the way, take what I say, if you will, with a grain of salt, because there's no physical evidence to prove what I'm saying is 100% true. So take that, if you will. About around May or June of 2020, K9 mentioned he graduated from high school at the age of 20. And not to mention, on July 6, 2021, he mentioned to me, after asking him, did you graduate from high school? He told me yes. He did last year.
Yeah, because I kind of went based off the interactions I had with other people and some of the things he kind of posted on his own accounts about his whole graduation, and even after some point during 2020, whenever we started talking, I know that he talked a lot about getting his GED. So I kind of figured he was still in school. So that's kind of where that comes from a bit. So.
If anything, he could possibly be in like some special program and whatnot to get a job.
He could be. I don't know if people would want to hire him, but I guess that's pretty good if he went through that.
And another thing too, this was something that would have been brought up later, but this actually, I do remember that there was a reason for this one. Apparently back on Halloween of last year, he was doing a movie night during the day. of excuse me, the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. And he ended up basically getting upset because barely anybody was joining. The only person that was in there with him was Leo Lama. Mm-hmm. I told him I was at work, and he basically removed my comments, and I asked him, why'd you do that? And then he answered, you're at work, and then he deleted those comments too. The main reason he went like this is actually because he was dealing with some personal problems at home. That's why he got upset and started insulting people and such.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I noticed that myself when I was on his, was it second or third server? Second server, right. I forget, he has so fucking many. I remember that situation a little bit. I was at work myself and I couldn't join his stream. And honestly, I wasn't really interested in watching Treehouse of Horror or whatever else he was watching. So, yeah, I didn't really have an interest in that. But just insulting people for no reason just uncalled for.
Yeah, I understand that he was dealing with personal issues at home, but maybe, just maybe, he could have not gone the route of insulting people and calling them retards and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is going to be home.
Yeah. Well, anyway, let's get to our second guest here. If you would like to go ahead and speak for us.
Hello, I'm Anonymous.
Mm-hmm. So, let's start from the beginning. So, how long have you known K9X-Toons?
Since the beginning of his account of DA, I mean. Like, back when he was still doing his Johnny Test hate art stuff.
Ah.
That's actually how I discovered him, by the way, was the Johnny Test hate art.
I remember those days. It's pretty funny. It's funny seeing people really flip out about a show that wasn't really meant to last.
One thing I did like about sorry to go off topic a bit, but I actually kind of liked his Johnny Test drawings, not because I hate the show, but just because how creative he was with them, at the very least. So at least I could say that about him.
Mm-hmm.
The drawings, I mean.
And that's one of the good things you can say about him. Anything else you want to say?
Oh, there's other good things, like outside of hate art, he makes really good art. Even his OC art, which I don't really care for because his OCs are kind of boring as fuck, like, he at least is good at drawing them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people say, his drawings are too stiff, or he puts too much on backgrounds, which is one of the things you've mentioned. Mm-hmm. But frankly, I'm just like, it looks fine, you know? It looks good.
Yeah, because, like, the thing is, I criticize him on that, and I don't think he's, like, horrible, because, I mean, he does a pretty decent job with backgrounds, and his characters, they don't have, like overly detailed to the point where it's, like, a complete eyesore to look at. But, I mean, I think that if he took a few minutes to try to do things a little bit different, or maybe expand a bit more, I think it would be even better. So that's one of the criticisms I gave him that I hope that he would take into consideration to make it even better for everybody. So that's some good things.
I do have one positive thing to say before we get to the meat, and this is actually referring to what Anonymous said about his art.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I am going to admit is that K9 is really, really good with backgrounds. Like, holy hell. He can replicate the Billy and Mandy and even Dexter's laboratory backgrounds so well. His characters are a little okay and whatnot. I don't exactly pay attention to original characters that much. To be fair, I'm not good at really developing much of my OCs as well.
Same here.
Take that if you say.
Same here.
But I do think K9 actually has really good art. Much better than mine, definitely. And not to mention, I mean, again, replicating the cartoon art style and whatnot. He's really good at, like, replicating the Billy and Mandy art style.
Yes. I wouldn't sell yourself short. Like the artwork that I've seen you post on my server and even K9's before. I like that. I think it's really good. So I like it.
Well, I find it funny that K9 often says that he's unoriginal, yet he has more courage to post art more than I have or can. I'm someone who often self-deprides their own art. Meanwhile, you got another person who basically says their art's unoriginal, but can at least have the encouragement to post it.
Yeah, because I used to really beat myself up about my art too, so I know that struggle. I still do today. It sucks being it sucks being your own worst critic.
Yeah. But that's all I have to say for the positives. I think it's time we actually get to the main point of what this is all going down.
Yeah. So, what are some of the flaws that you've noticed?
Let's just address the elephant in the room in the scenario. Constantly bringing up dead drama. Every time in the VCs, or even in any of the drama or event chats from his first server all the way to sometime to his third server, he kept bringing up dead drama. It's either JWB or Ruben, or even Little Miss Horror. And to be honest, at first I was like, oh, he got himself into some drama. I can kind of understand where he's coming from, because I also was dealing with my own personal drama at the time. But then when he kept bringing it up, it started getting a little suspicious. Not to mention, it makes you rather side with the people that he's going against rather than, siding with him. Because eventually, people are going to look into these guys.
Yep. They're going to take the moment to look and see on the other side and get two different stories rather than just a one-sided story.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mr. Anonymous, did you have anything to say?
Yes, adding on to the dead horse thing, I can confirm that K9 brings up the drama in other servers other than his own.
Yeah. Because I've heard that story a lot, especially as of late. Okay. So, with all these flaws, but some good, how often do you actually interact with him?
Probably either twice or 3 times a week, at most. During my first trip on his first server, he was more active on the VCs and whatnot. But then on the second server, he would sometimes come in and not talk at all, or sometimes come in for a short time and then leave. So, yeah, and again, if it isn't like that drama he brings up, he also talks about autism in them, and it can get pretty awkward at times, because he likes to talk negatively about autistic people or even autism, like special ed classes and all this other stuff, and it causes the VC sometimes to get awkwardly quiet.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot too, because I saw it in some of his messages on his event server. He would often say things like, I have autism, but I want to be treated equally. But then later, just like a few days later, he's like, I have autism and people need to understand that. So he's very flip-floppy about how he deals with that sort of stuff.
If I may add, it's not just his disability. He also drops on various opinions, like on TV shows. Like at one point he'll be like quoting Rick and Morty, the next moment he'll be hating Rick and Morty. 1 second he'll be like he used to do a lot of pony art, and suddenly he's like, yeah, well I never liked ponies anyway, it's just too girly for me. And I'm like, well then why did you make all those pony pictures to begin with?
Yeah.
He seems to struggle with forming his own opinion, and like his own opinion, not just based off of other people's opinions based on whatever property he's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I know people like that do that just all the time. I used to be one of them too, if you can believe that. But anyway, so from the interactions that you've had with him, how often would you say that he likes to bring up dead drama?
9 times out of 10, whenever a VC goes on, or of course in the locale threads or whatnot, he will bring up JWB or Ruben, and not to mention, I mean, some people have told him multiple times to stop bringing it up. Stop bringing it up. And he still brings it up. Stop bringing it up.
Yep.
Yes, it also seems to be kind of random at times. Like it will be like we'll be talking about something else, and then suddenly he'll be like, "Yeah, well, remember this time JWB, Ruben, you, etc., did this to me," and we'll all be like, "What does that have to do with the current topic?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can go from talking about video games and whatnot, and then suddenly K9 brings up, like, Jesus with bazookas being a meanie head to me.
Mm-hmm. I know, he's been doing that with me recently. I don't know why. I've been a good boy. I didn't do nothing. Bag's a good boy.
But I think we should talk about what happened to the first server.
Alright. You two can start whenever you want.
I'll go ahead and talk about it first, because believe it or not, despite the fact that Tribad was one of the main reasons that caused the server to get nuked, it was actually somebody else that set it off. Apparently on the day his server got nuked, in the morning, there was a guy named Pillowstar. We were talking in the memes chat, and then he told somebody, "Shut up, furry." Now, I'm pretty sure Pillowstar was doing it in a teasing manner and not exactly insulting the person, but the person probably took it as an insult. And basically what happened was that she and Pillowstar got into an argument, and K9 ended up hopping in and telling Pillowstar to stop. And then I said, I don't exactly remember what I said, so I apologize if I end up saying something incorrect.
Oh, it's okay.
I said that, furry is not always an insult. I didn't know how to exactly word it, but yeah, and pretty much after all that's happened, Karen said try to move on, and then he, of course, tried to bring up the furry word again, and then the person ended up leaving the server, and then Pillowstar left after that, and then I was about to leave for work when this all happened, but he started venting and saying that he can't fucking continue dealing with this much longer, and then I was also going through a very bad time when this was all going down, so it did not help that I was just dealing with K9 going on a mental breakdown on his server. I was also dealing with my own problems in life and even online when this all went down, so I even put in a comment saying, I don't know if I feel comfortable with trolling NSFW this much longer. Which kind of was a lie at the time, because I ended up trying not safe for work on his second server as well. But anyway, back to the main point. His server nukes, not surprisingly. And then I think either Daffy or K9 gave me a link to Daffy's own server. And then what happened was that there was a VC going on in there. And I came in and I basically told him, just give me the safe for work role, please. I told him I was at work, so I may not be talking that much. But yeah, I was already feeling kind of depressed as this was all going down. And then, an hour after this all happens, and I'm still at work when this happens, K9 makes his second server, and I find this out from a different server that I used to be in. After seeing that link, I ran into the bathroom, in like a singular bathroom, and fucking broke down crying.
Ooh.
I was just crying because, again, I wasn't just dealing with K9, I was also dealing with a bad relationship at the time.
Yeah.
I had so much shit on my sleeves as this was all going down. And here's the thing. Originally, while I was breaking down, I was gonna go into the VC and Daffy server and straight up tell K9 to go fuck himself. and then leave the server after that. But I didn't. And it also didn't help that my best friend ended up deleting the app because of K9 nuking the first server, and at the time, my best friend had no idea where to go.
Yeah.
So, and he wasn't responding to me until much later into the night after I got home from work.
Yes.
And I got to talk to him in the call, and I broke down crying in the call because I thought it was my own fault for causing him to leave this Discord. He told me it wasn't my fault, it was K9's fault and such.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a fucking nerve wreck that night.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand how things can get kind of intersect. Even if you don't want them to, they still can cause a lot of problems. It can. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Anonymous?
Well, my memory is a bit foggy about the first one. I don't think really much in particular happened with me in the first server. Especially since my memory is kind of foggy, whoever's all the crap that went down with K9, and both recently and in the past. Kind of hard to keep track of it all chronologically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I understand. So, with all that happening, and Tribet, and Pillow Star, and some others, and Kex himself, getting rid of the first server, let's move on to the second server. How did you feel? So after all that, the dust kind of settled, and the new server was created. How did you feel?
I did not join the server, I think, until a week later. So, and I tried to self back in and, said that, okay, maybe I can just feel comfortable drawing not safe for work art again. And all this other stuff. Because I think during that week, I actually was also deciding on breaking up with my girlfriend and distancing myself from her and such. But yeah, I was selling back in and then also dealing with some other stuff in life, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to add?
Basically, yeah, everything was pretty much okay. And then, dun dun dun, you joined.
Yep. It's the moment where it's like a Trojan horse, but I didn't break out in the evening to rampage his city. Because, it would have been tempting to do so. Because, the story would have been a whole lot different, but I came in because I'd recently saw the whole thing that happened with Sonic 93. And that's what brought me and K9 together, because he's very fond of like those videos that me and JWB used to make and sometimes still make. Which I should clarify on that. He used to be a fan of JWB until JWB fell into his sights and became a target. And that's why they don't really like each other anymore. So that's what happened there. And the story could have been basically the same thing if I didn't see what Sonic 93 went to, because one thing that I have to make clear is that whenever I make a video about somebody, I don't make it because I don't want to ruin somebody's life, and I don't want to like encourage people to go after them. Because anytime I make a video about somebody, I always learn something. I try to at least take something away from my video, so I don't make the same mistakes. And K9 and other people should have that mentality too, but K9 doesn't. He doesn't see that. So it's a slippery thing to see, especially whenever the people who watch those videos are almost no different from the people who are being made fun of or targeted. So kind of adds to it. And it was a big mistake adding me, especially since he probably didn't know a whole lot about that, but he did. And it didn't turn out to be too big of a mistake because, well, I came in with a different mindset than what I was used to. So, I join the server, and things are okay for us. I mean, I see the stuff he posts in Vent that we've already mentioned, and I saw a lot of the things that he was saying in private, and he was talking about the name JWB. He wasn't saying the full name, it was just JWB. And the thing is, I tried looking up stuff about K9 a little bit, like his username at the time, that was K9X-Toons. I couldn't really find anything on him. It wasn't until I saw him leak the name Jesus with Bazookas 79 that I finally got the backstory I was looking for. So, and I think you did mention that you watch Jesus with Bazookas video, the Lolcow Archive, episode 6, on Bon Bon the Marshmallow Bunny, which was his older username before he changed it.
Yes, I truly did. I watched all 2 hours of it. And yeah, it's kind of does show a new perspective on him when you think about it, because some of the things that he did before still technically, and I mean technically, carried to him today.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that too. Do you have anything you want to add, Mr. Anonymous?
About the Jesus with Bazooka?
Yeah.
The Jesus with Bazooka situation. Yeah, like, I remember in a journal by K9 where he actually reacted positively to the JWB's video. I assume he really only did it to, like, make himself look good and not actually because he was fine with it.
Yeah.
As you can clearly tell, he wasn't as by his current actions nowadays, yeah.
Nope, he wasn't. He was not. He really wasn't. It's like that one meme. This is fine. Yeah. It's just like that. So, anyway. So, what were your thoughts, like, on his Vent messages where he gets really personal? Because I know he talked a lot about, like, his family life and having autism and all this other stuff. What were your thoughts?
I had no idea at the time because I did not have the private role yet. I did not ask for the private role until, like, I think 8 months after I joined the server. So I was pretty late with, like, finding all of this out. I do remember, however, in the favorites chat, he would ask people in my original. Now, to be fair, I couldn't always answer some of the questions that he pinned everyone for because I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that I have to, like, tell K9 that I, a grown-ass adult, is at her job right now, can't always fucking talk on their phone and such. I mean, I carry my phone with me at work, just in case if I need to see what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
But, my God, it's really not easy to get it through him that I'm a busy woman in life.
The same here. Like, I remember it was pretty bad because I had my iPad with me at work. I was in my work area at the hospital. And I would have, like, DM conversations with him and other people, especially when it came to the whole, my original post that he posted on his favorites chat, which I'll have to explain that story.
Yeah, because I think I was at work when this all went down.
Yeah, and it was like 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. And that's not abnormal for me because that's usually the time I work at the hospital. I work third shift, which is like about 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. So just about in that range. But what happened was that he went on his favorites chat and he was asking his favorites if he was original or not. And I've seen him talk. I see him talk a lot about, his art and how he's kind of what's the word? It's not really incompetent. Insecure. There we go. Thank you. He's very insecure about it.
It's kind of funny that he's insecure about his work, and yet he can post more of it than I can.
One thing I would like to add is that it's also kind of ironic how he will criticize other people's art as well, when he himself is not so proud of his own art, apparently.
Oh, yes. Because I remember somebody sent him a gift art that they did for him. It was like this really, it's weird looking, but you know, it was a gift. It was nice. It was done completely for free, and he fucking hated it. I remember that.
I mean, yeah, it looked a little off, but they took the time out of their day to make something nice for him, and I couldn't say anything because, one, I was at work, and two, it's just, I didn't really want to tell K9 that was pretty ungrateful for you to react to this thing, K9. Don't you think you should at least say thank you?
Yep. Yep, he does that. But anyway, so I was in that chat. It was me, and it was Hair Jules, who was there as well, who was one of K9's favorites at the time. And I sent out a pretty hefty long message, and all of this was while I was at work, by the way, on the clock, telling K9 the criticisms I had about his artwork. We already mentioned this earlier, but I'll go into a little more detail. I told him that his backgrounds were good, but they were too detailed to the point where they distracted from the main focus, which is supposed to be on the characters in the environment, not the background. And it kind of drowns them out. It's almost like they're chewing the scenery. That was one. I told him that his characters were stiff a little bit. They don't really bend or move very much. And I think that was the one that really stuck with him the most. Because he was kind of... that was like his trigger word, I guess. Was that I told him that his characters were a little stiff. And if you look at his artwork now versus what they were back around the end of 2020, they didn't really bend or move much. So that went down. There were a few other things, but I'll save them later. He started doing the whole "woe was me" thing, which I know he does very on the reg. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, the "woe is me" thing, because let's be for real. I mean, this is when I started getting the vent role and whatnot, because I did have to vent something out. I had to confess, mainly to another person that was on his server, that I did not have a panty break fetish. Mainly because of the fact that whenever I drew art of one of my characters with panties, they always seemed like, oh, if only she had panty briefs and whatnot and such. Mm-hmm. And it's just gotten kind of worrying, because even K9 was actually liking some of the stuff. And what happened was that eventually I just drew so much of it, and I just felt like, oh god, what if this is going to start becoming the HTF fandom all over again? So I asked for the private role so I could vent it out. And yeah, only one person acknowledged and said, maybe you should make your own server. And I said, yeah, and no, I'm not going back to being, like, noticed and whatnot.
Yeah, you want to stay underground.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Because I actually have dealt with some personal trauma myself and such. So to see K9 do these woe is me things and whatnot, but K9's got a large following and such. I don't even have much of a following for a reason.
I don't either. Yeah, I completely understand about that. Did you want to add anything, Mr. Anonymous?
Let's see. Woe is me situation. Well, really, other than pretty much I just mentioned what I said before, like he does it randomly and out of nowhere at times, including in servers that aren't his.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much what he said, so yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So what happened to the favorites chat after you said all this?
Well, he started going at, so Hair was there too, I mentioned, and Hair, he was trying to calm him down too, but Hair, I love the kid, bless him, he's really nice, but he can get off topic very easily. But he was still trying to like calm Kex down, and Kex he just went fucking mad on him. Like, he was insulting him. He was like, I didn't even understand why. And I was trying to calm him down myself. Like, I was sending him messages like, look, man, I don't mind like showing you a thing or two, and maybe, you know, other people on his server who were also there, who were in his favorites chat, who he liked and looked up to, wouldn't mind to give him some advice or pointers that could be useful later. But that didn't stick around. And a while later, I came back to his server and I noticed that the favorites chat was gone. And even in the suggestions chat, I asked, where'd the favorites chat go?
I was actually caught off guard when I found out the favorites chat was gone, because I was on my break when I found out about this, and like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he did that. It was because of me, I guess. And it wasn't because I was being a dick or anything. I was just being honest. Because, I mean, I know people like to think of me as a villain, I guess, but I really wanted to help him because I understand being insecure about your artwork. I think everybody here can, to a degree.
Man, I'm like the most insecure. I mean, for goodness sake, I self-deprecate my own work even inside of my own drawings themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so pathetic.
Yeah, you are. You pathetic.
So pathetic.
Cry more, baby. Anyway, so his favorite chat was gone for a few hours, and then he came up with a new one a few hours later, and he didn't even acknowledge that the other favorites chat was gone. And this kind of hit me hard a little bit because I was being genuine. Like, I wasn't being a dick or anything. I was actually trying to help the guy, and so was Hare, but he wouldn't take it. And especially adds up to the whole event chat because, as I mentioned before, K9, he likes to air his dirty laundry out to his server publicly that anybody can see and join in and, you know, potentially screenshot and use later on down the line. So I saw the Jesus with Bazooka video a while before, and I kind of knew what to expect. And it was like I had this epiphany, this idea that either I could try to help him recover, like lolcow redemption, because let's face it, he does have that tendency, like a lot of them do. Like, he could come out smelling like roses. I was wanting him to be like another semi-classic Sonic fan, just someone who's just down in the gutter and then comes out smelling like roses.
Yeah, guess where this leads to?
Yeah, the people who are listening to this now probably know, but we'll save that for later. So I saw the vent chat thing, and I messaged him in DMs, and I told him, look, man, you need to get rid of that, you know, that vent chat, because you are airing out so much that people could use that against you. And the thing is, he acknowledged, he knew what I was talking about, because he said that he had been through it again. So the vent chat disappears. It totally disappeared. And I was proud of him. It was a step in the right direction, because I thought he was listening to me. That's a key word. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah. Did you have anything you want to add, Mr. Anonymous?
Yes, I've actually been through the whole thinking he's changed route before. Like back in the early days when he announced he would stop doing Johnny Says Hate Art, I thought, hey, maybe from this point forward he'll be like, you know, good and stuff. And then, you know, later down the line he started, you know, obsessing over candy, which is another topic altogether, and, you know, it was clearly showed, yeah, that we're not at that point yet. And as we are now, we still are not at that point of him recovering.
Nope. No, we are not.
So yeah, it's like this isn't even the first time of a false recovery. It's like the 10th time at this point, really.
Yep. Yep. 10 times the charm. So, anyway, before I hop into the reveal, I think we all know what that is. I wanted to ask about Candy a little bit because I've wanted to talk to her myself, but she has completely ignored me. And I know that I've seen from JWB's video that she goes a long way back with K9. She seems like a wild card. She doesn't really seem like she's on his side or against him. It's weird. I tried DMing her on Twitter, but she completely ignored me. So I was hoping to get an opinion on that.
Honestly, maybe she just wants to, like, step away from the drama that's going on right now. So I think she's just trying to make her choice of, okay, I don't really want to get myself into this mess. Whatever he's getting himself into, I might not want to be involved with it.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to add, Mr. Anonymous?
Yeah, well, I've tried talking to her too, and I've actually had some pleasant interactions with her on K9's first and second server, but like, other than that, like, I couldn't really get in contact with her either.
Yeah. Because, I mean, from the messages I've seen that she posted, she seems kind of weird, like, let's be honest. But she seems nice, though, which, can make up for any weirdness,
Yeah. Just like me, I'm super weird, but I can be nice most of the time. I can be a bitch, but I try to at least be nice.
Well, I've talked to you for quite a while, and you've been absolutely pleasant. So, I don't know about that. But anyway, so let's fast forward to the reveal. So as stated before, just to recap a little bit, I DM K9 and I told him you need to get rid of that vent chat, or you need to stop posting in it. Like, you can have it, but don't air out like personal details of your life, things that people could use against you, because I've seen people do this. I know how it ends when people do it, especially since he has a very interesting history. They're going to use that against him. And, and I spent the last few months on his server thinking that it was gone. Thinking that he actually listened to me, and I gave him gifts. I did art for server and other people who were involved, such as Big Pix, Leo Llama, Metal Husky, Alduin Jajinka, and himself. And I even had this cringy like crossover thing I wanted to do that was mostly one-sided, but I thought it was cringy, but I thought it would be fun. I thought it'd be a good way to like break the ice and make new friends.
If I'm going to be honest, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I think I should admit this right now. At the time when you joined K9's server, I did not trust you. Mainly because I've seen your old videos and whatnot before growing up. But I used to binge watch the commentary community myself. I just wasn't sure about the idea of like having somebody who's kind of has somewhat of a negative history when it comes to certain people online.
Yes.
Being on on like a server of somebody I used to be friends with.
Oh yeah.
Son.
Yeah. I even mentioned that before. It was like a Trojan horse, but the Trojan horse, it wasn't really malicious. It could have been, but it wasn't. It was genuine. And, yeah, I know a lot about a lot of those people. I used to try to interact with them, but they push you aside. They were shitty people, and I've realized that as I've gotten farther down the line in YouTube content, because it was them that kind of pushed out. It was the slideshow commentary community, and then later it was like all the people who were involved in Gamergate just a few years later, and then it was the skeptics, and they all they act like they're these like intellectual giants, but when you really get down to it, and whenever you really back them into certain situations, they're just as fucking retarded as the people they make fun of. So I know that. Did you have anything you want to add, Mr. Anonymous?
The whole not trusting people. Quite a few people had that reaction with JWB on your server, right, man?
Yes.
I even suggested people to, like, at least calm down, and granted, I also was a bit nervous about having him on here at first.
You know, it's kind of funny, because I was a bit nervous myself. A little bit. But, you know, he's been here. He hasn't really done anything. He doesn't post very often either. So, I mean, he's been chill. Because, I mean, the thing people need to understand is that, like, even most trolls, like a decent portion of them are just normal, regular people with standards, feelings, goals, emotions, fears, stuff like that. Like, we're not all monsters. And they said the same thing when Ruben joined too. And I know that Ruben has allegations and stuff, but he's been pretty nice on the server, even though, you know, given his history. And to be fair, it's allegations. They're not really proven or false. They're just kind of out there. And there's not a whole lot of context either. So, you know.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, we got off topic. So,
Let's get to the main juice.
Yeah. But the main point of that is you weren't trusting. And I completely understand how that works. So.
And to be for real, Bag, I mean, you even mentioned to me that you've seen my Not Safe for Work art before, and you thought it was awkward and weird. And I will admit, it was awkward and weird.
Yeah. Hey, it's fine. I do shit like that too. And the thing is, it's kind of funny because I used to be against it. Like, I used to be completely against, like, NSFW and fetish work. And it's funny now because, hey, I pander to them now for commission bonuses. Because the thing that pushed me for that was that I always thought that they were just getting rich off of doing NSFW. Because I mean, sex sells, you know that.
Yeah.
And, but the thing is, I realized they're not doing it because they're making shitloads of money. They're doing it so that way they can pay bills and not be homeless.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make a living and whatnot, you might as well sell some, like, very lewd and naughty stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to get your groceries for the week, get your bills paid and whatnot, get your insurance taken care of, all for the selling of porn.
Yep, got to pay your crack dealer somehow. You don't want him to take your legs. Although, to be fair, I think the whole OnlyFans is tasteless. At least with NSFW art, somebody put effort into it. But I don't think for OnlyFans, just spreading your ass cheeks apart, it's like, no.
We already got Google for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I ain't no simp. Did you want to add anything, Mr. Anonymous, to that?
To the porn thing, well, it's money, very dirty money. So if you really wanted some degenerate stuff, just look up the images on Encyclopedia of the Mac. I'm sure that you'll find someone who's just as degenerate as you.
Yep. Yep, we're all flawed. We all have weird things about us. So.
But let's cut to the cheese and get to the big reveal.
Oh yeah, the big reveal. I don't want to spoil the audience too much. Okay, so this is mostly from yours and Mr. Anonymous's perspective. So whichever one wants to start, because
I'll do it.
Okay.
So what happened was apparently there was a picture posted in the vent chat first, and then posted in the drama chat. I don't exactly remember the context of the picture, but apparently it was posted in drama, and then my best friend asked, what happened to the post that was just here seconds ago? And then I said, and I quote, it was already posted in vent, so I'm assuming someone removed it because of that.
Mm-hmm. And then I said, wait, I thought that the vent chat was deleted.
Nope. It's in the normal category.
And I think I said...
You had the private role, so you should have been able to see the vent chat just fine.
Yep. And K9 got back. He's messaged me and said, hold on. And then the vent chat appeared like nothing ever happened. And I thought that he just created a new vent chat and wiped up the other one. I went to the vent chat and scrolled up through all the messages, and none of them were deleted. All the same ones were there.
And here's the thing. If by any chance you weren't allowed in the vent chat, it was because your vent privileges got revoked. Because another user got theirs revoked for saying, like, apparently they were venting about a YouTuber, and then they eventually said this one particular word that pretty much set somebody off and got them kicked from that chat. So yeah. I thought maybe you said something offensive that probably led to you getting banned from the vent chat. I had no idea he had this hidden from you.
Yeah. And nobody knew about the DMs either. Because I just want to keep it between me and Kex. But yeah, the guy getting banned from vent chat, we know who did it. And we know the guy who was responsible, and that dude is a piece of shit, but he's a different story, and we're not going to talk on him. So we'll just leave it at that. I got plenty to work with on him. Anyway, but yeah, my venting privileges were taken away simply because I told somebody to get rid of their vent messages that's going to bite them in the ass later. So...
And then I apparently and unintentionally revealed that.
Yep.
And you were lied to.
And people might think, oh, that's not a big deal. Like, so what? It's his server. But I wanna expand on this a bit more. If he messaged me in DMs and he told me, I understand what you're saying, but I'm not deleting the vent chat, I would have had more respect for him. Because he would have told me honestly rather than being like secretive. Being one of those fucking people. Because that always bothers me when people do that. Like, I mean, I can't force him to or anything. And yeah, it could have still turned back and bit him in the ass, but he knew what was going to happen. He acknowledged it. And if he just told me that I want to keep it up because I have nowhere else to go, because I'm a loser and I don't have anyone else to talk to, I would have had way more respect for him because he's being, at the very least, honest, but he wasn't, so.
And this goes back to earlier when I said that I originally didn't have the private role at the time when I joined his second server. If I never asked for the private role just so I could vent out something, because, again, I actually have been through, like, relapses before when it came to, like, pleasing people. I used to be a huge people pleaser and whatnot. If I never actually asked for the private role, what would have happened if I never said that what I just said to reveal the vent chat was never gone?
Yeah, because I could have been on his server doing stuff for him and being nice to him for years, and that's something that really bothers me because I spent months thinking that he was kind of taking a turn. He was listening, but he wasn't, and he could have been lying to me for God knows how long. So that goes down. And I turn somewhat against him. I didn't want to go out publicly because I wanted to gather up enough information I could on him to use against him later, because I went screenshot crazy with like all the stuff on his server, mainly the stuff he posted, and also the stuff the other person, who we won't mention, decided to do. So, gathering up all the I bought all the ammo in the gun store just for these two idiots. It was two idiots, now it's three, but I had to get my ammo from a different store because the other one ran out and then didn't have that special kind of ammo. Wink, wink. But yeah, yeah. I was Wit Taker from fucking Dead Rising, not Dead Rising, from fucking Left 4 Dead 2. That was what I was. That's what I was. I just needed more cola Did you have anything you want to add, Mr. Anonymous?
I think that Eva's best friend kind of also unintentionally started the fire, looking back at it, and how he kind of asked that Eva replied to that, you saw.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, in a way, it's his fault as well.
Yep.
So we're partners in crime, apparently.
Bonnie and Clyde. Classic movie. I actually need to rewatch that movie sometime. But anyway, so that happens, and I start going screenshot crazy. The little crossover comic I had was completely scrapped. Out the same day. I didn't have any, there were other people who I was going to draw for, but I imagine I probably wouldn't see them again after this, so I kind of jumped ship on that too. And I start saving up any ammo I could on him. And I saw this one from another guy on the server who was trying to do art for other people, but nobody would respond to him, so...
Sony boy.
Yeah, Sony boy. I didn't want to say his name, but that's okay. That's okay.
But yeah, I honestly do feel bad for not saying anything, but I was at work at the time when this was all happening. So hearing all these from the previous interviews, my God.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me feel miserable for not even wanting to put one of my own characters into it.
It's okay.
But the other reason was also because I didn't want to be seen as a request whore, because I used to, ask people to draw art when I used to be on DeviantArt. I mean, I was a fucking minor myself, so I was a bit crazy at the time.
Mm-hmm. We all go crazy. Yeah, I started saving up all kinds of things I could use later, and the whole Sony boy thing, which I've mentioned in multiple interviews. I'm sure people probably get it now. Or from the video, whenever it goes out, implying it isn't flagged by some other party. I can't imagine who would do that. But yeah, the whole Sony boy thing, I felt bad for him because he was a server booster. He was making Kex's server better.
That also surprised me too, because I had no idea he was doing this until I joined your server.
Mm-hmm. And he was trying to do art for people, and to be fair, he has a very interesting style that might put other people off, but I like it. I like those crazy styles that he's got. And he gave me a very wonderful picture of one of my characters. And and to this day, I still have it as my iPad's background. And I don't really have any intentions on changing it, because it's special to me. Did you have anything you want to add?
I don't really know much about Sony Boy's situation other than getting boosted and having nothing rewarded for it. So, not really sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I don't know. I saw your icon going off. I thought I'd ask you. Okay, so where do we go next? So
my event I made before I left his server.
All right.
So apparently what happened was that I actually had to schedule myself for a therapy appointment. This was before I even started my diet. Apparently I was dealing with some anxiety and depression issues and whatnot. And one of those reasons was because of the people-pleasing thing I mentioned earlier. Because again, I was feeling like I had to make art for people, to satisfy their needs. And considering this was mainly happening on K9's server, I'm like, how do I leave this server without K9 getting suspicious? Or K9 going to my DM saying, hey, why did you leave my server? But the thing was, so when that happened, I went to therapy that day. I started deleting all of my stuff on K9's server, art-wise. Yeah. Including safe work and such. And then I made the big event of me mentioning that I honestly felt like I was relapsing again, and I don't know how much longer I can continue staying on this server. And please do not add me as a friend, because I have a feeling you guys are only going to want to befriend me for my art, and not for me. And then basically I left the server like a few minutes after making that vent.
Yep, in a few minutes. After I noticed that you left the server, I posted a comment asking you what's going on because I was going to talk to you, but you left. And I was like, shit.
And not to mention, I had allowed DMs to turn off and suppressed friend requests because I had major trust issues, and I still have trust issues today. So, yeah, you weren't able to contact me until maybe a couple weeks later when I joined your server and explained to you what happened.
Yep.
But basically, and I know what you may think. It was kind of a dick move for K9 to not say anything. But to be fair, I'm actually kind of glad he did not, ask me, why did you leave my server, despite me explaining it. Because here's the thing. I was already on a server that he was in. So it's not like he lost me or anything.
Yep.
So he was still able to see me post art. I just felt a lot more better leaving his server because now I don't feel like I have to pressure myself to draw this stuff because the server I'm in is a safe for work only server.
Yep.
And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I don't think I want to do NSFW art publicly anymore. I think I'm just going to keep it to myself now.
I can understand that. That's your decision. You post whatever you want to.
But yeah.
Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and go off from my perspective. So I saw you have this meltdown, and K9 didn't fucking say anything about it, and you were one of his favorites, and apparently that's supposed to mean something, but it didn't mean anything to him, and that really bothered me that he didn't even acknowledge you leaving or even saying goodbye. Nothing. No, thank you for your time being here. No, nothing. Not even from some of his other people who were on the server that liked your artwork. They didn't say anything either. It was just me.
It's strange how the person I did not trust at first actually acknowledged my event.
Yeah. Fate is weird, isn't it? Fate is really fucking weird. Yeah.
So then I joined your server. And I know we're going ahead of time, but I joined your server and explained what happened and whatnot.
Yeah.
Explained everything that happened. Because I actually got your responses from my best friend. Because I asked him, did anybody acknowledge my event? And he said only one person did, and it was you. And I was actually surprised.
Yeah. I'm going to say it. Your friend is a really good friend. A very good friend indeed. So, anyway, so that happens, and then the rest of it is from my perspective. It was the whatever everybody likes to call it, the truth bomb, but I just call it my final message to K9 on his server because I knew what was going to happen whenever I posted it. And I wasn't wrong. I made a whole bunch of predictions about what would happen after. And most of them came true. But I am going to go ahead and start where that began. So he was going off on JWB and Ruben and all this other stuff. And he was just outright spamming. I think it was the drama chat. With just a barrage of screenshots. Like 30 or 40 screenshots. I'm not fucking around. I had them all screenshotted before I posted
Oh dear Lord. It must have been much worse than the amount of times he kept bringing them up.
Yes. I mean, it was the biggest one so far. And I wanted to keep my plan to make a video about him secret, but at that point, I couldn't take it anymore. Because while it would have been easy just to be a dick and just screenshot and then go against him by surprise, because I mean he kind of deserves it, but I wanted to lay the foundation. I wanted to be blunt honest with him first. So, Hair in that chat he asked the question, "What does Bag think of this situation?" And I posted a message in his, I think it was the drama chats. I forget. I have the screenshots, but I don't have them with me right now. I asked him, do you really want my honest opinion about JWB and all this other stuff? And K9 said yes. So I left a counter message saying, all right, you're going to have to give me a while because I'm going to type this out. And I dropped probably the biggest message I've ever dropped on anybody ever. And it was, and to keep it short, because I have it on my Twitter account because I saved it, the short version was about how he basically betrayed me and how all these things and all these like things he did in his past, like him admitting, or at least he's very weird about this. There's a part in JWB's video when somebody asks him if he's a pedophile, and his answer is, well, kinda.
Can I actually interrupt you and talk about this part? Because
go ahead.
I'm actually rather confused on the whole pedophile thing, because if I'm correct, K9 was 17 years old around the time when this was all happening, correct?
I believe so.
Because I think the video was released before July 5th, which would have indicated that you would have turned 18 that year.
I can't remember exactly. I can't remember exactly when those messages were made, but I don't know. It was like, it's this really fucking weird thing to admit. And the thing is, he admitted it again later when somebody asked him again. He said yes, just a straight up yes. So
to be for real, I'm going to be honest. I think it was just a very stupid decision for him to admit it, because I think he was only doing this because either A, people kept pressuring him about it because of his weird views on certain things, or B, he just didn't know what to say to defend himself, so he kind of gave in the like defeated card or something.
Possibly. I mean, I'm not throwing that out of the realm of possibility, but it is a very weird thing to kind of admit. But also, I did mention in the truth bomb that he mentioned that he didn't know what fudas were and he didn't like them. But then it turns out he actually does, and he's drawn like femboys and stuff on his Fur Affinity. So I don't know. It's really weird. Did you want to add anything, Mr. Anonymous?
Yes. I don't believe K9 is a pedophile. I just think this is one of those cases where he's acting before he properly thinks about it.
Yeah.
Because he does that a lot.
That is true. I know he does that a lot too.
Doesn't understand the think before you act kind of quote.
Yep. Yeah, he does do that. But I also mentioned, I believe I mentioned also the flagging of JWB's video, because that did happen. And I find it really weird that, you know, he'll be like a huge fan of like JWB, and when JWB turns the tides on him or somebody he knows, that's whenever he goes too far. And I always found that really, really weird that people do that, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna do this with me, but fuck it.
He's probably gonna do it with me too. If not, it'll be that other fucking idiot. Maybe it might be the other idiot. Who knows?
Maybe it'll be a surprise fourth idiot.
Yeah. Marasmus the Wizard. Yeah. Feel the terror of reading. Yeah. But I went, getting back to the whole truth bomb thing. I made a bunch of predictions. I called him out directly on the server about the DMs, about me telling him to get rid of the vent chat and how he basically lied to me. And I made a bunch of predictions of what's going to happen. I predicted that all the good things I did for him, which I mentioned in other interviews and in the video, probably up until this point, all those good things, he will never, ever tell people that I was nice to him. All the artwork he did for me, which he did plenty of them, which was interesting. he was going to delete, which he did. And to be honest, he did a whole lot of art for me. Like, he drew Bag, like, I think 6 or 7 times just about in a few months. And it's weird because, you know, other people who were his favorites, they didn't get anywhere near as many like I did. Like, I think he's only drawn, like, maybe Big Pics once or twice. I know it's kind of 3 times now because I know he drew, like, his other character or whatever. Like, one of his newer ones. I don't think
kind of funny because I've been lately making art for Travis's characters and whatnot.
I have too. Like, I'll be honest, his characters are really fun to draw because they're. He's got that like Hanna-Barbera style.
That's what I love about his work and whatnot, and not just his work, but himself.
Yeah.
I mean, I do see him potentially like making merch out of his own characters in the future.
Yeah. We need to stockpile up more mason jars for him.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yep. But he didn't do any art for like Leo Lama either, and he was one of his favorites. And it's weird because
he did, but it was for the poorly drawn OC meme.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is that it's not any different from his normal style either. So it doesn't really feel like he was trying to draw it poorly. He was just drawing it normally. It's just I don't understand what the plan was. But I think it was like, and he did one for me too. He did my Zoe for it.
Yeah, and he did my Sona at the time before I redesigned her, because I ended up redesigning her around the time I left K9's server, or was slowly developing a new design for her.
Yeah, he didn't do a whole lot of art for anybody else, but he did a lot of it for me, and I think it's kind of compounded because I returned the favor a little bit because I drew his character Vanilla quite a bit. I did that one Halloween picture that I did. I actually had like multiple sketches of her before, but I never really shared them on the server. They were like prototype stuff for later. I had, what else? I think I was practicing with ink pens for the first time, and I think I think Vanilla was the first one I put them to use on. I think it came out pretty damn good for what it was. I did the follow-up picture to another thing that he drew, and I also did the Let's Draw Because Why Not, which was like multiple sketches of his character. So it was kind of a back and forth for both of us, and I had fun doing it until I found out about the lie. So, but that went down, and I logged off. I turned off all of my notifications everywhere on Discord. The only servers I used at the time was his server, which was the only one I had for months. And then I went to All the Win Jajinka server temporarily, just so I had another Discord I could use, because, but she's a different story. I'm not going to get into. She's a different can of worms. But yeah, I logged off, and the rest of it, what happened after I dropped that message, is mixed. But it ends the same way no matter what. His second server was gone, was nuked. So then I'll have to get into the aftermath of that. But if you guys want to add anything before I get to that.
Around the time, well, I didn't find out about the server being nuked until I joined your server, but I did find out about the truth message from my best friend. Literally, I think a week after I left. I think it was either a week or a few days after I left K9's server.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's just I wasn't really caught up with much because, I was no longer on that server. Because I was trying to worry about my own health at the time. I did try to take a bit of a break from art after I left K9's server, but sometimes it's not really that easy to take a break from doing something that you love so much.
Mm-hmm.
And if I may add, multiple people were telling Anon to not do what Bags predicts and to, like, prove him wrong. And he made it so, like, it seemed like he was going to go against what you said, only for him to do exactly what you said was going to happen anyway.
Yep.
Very frustrating. Very frustrating. This is another problem K9 has. Like, and Eva will probably explain more. He seems to be a pathological liar. Like, he'll say one thing and then do the opposite anyway. It's almost as if he forgot that he even said it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he's just saying it to get people off his back when really he doesn't mean it. Maybe he, like I said, forgot about it. Or maybe he just, like, has two different functions. Like, half of his brain can't agree on what to say, and so it just random just happens. You can never predict it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a game of
That
darts.
was something that I do believe in because of the fact that the amount of times he's constantly lied in the past and whatnot, and how he says that, oh, all of this is petty and whatnot and such, but technically he caused his own demise when you think about it. If he never fucking lied to you about hiding the vent chat, none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be talking to you tonight. I would have probably not even been on your server at all. I would probably still be on K9's second server and still hurting myself.
I would have stayed on a server. I probably would have never made my own. Because that was kind of the reason why I made it, was to kind of fill in the void. But I didn't expect so many people to join it, especially now, because I imagined it'd probably be like 5 or 6 people, but it's almost like over 40 people now, and that's incredible to me.
But yeah, it's just, fortunately, like I said, I would have still ended up hurting myself in the process because, again, people-pleasing problem at the time. Mm-hmm. And even then, I sometimes still feel like, oh my god, do people not like some of the stuff I make? Is it because it's something that eventually annoys them? Do they not want to see me constantly draw Madness Combat? I can't help it. I love Madness Combat. I love Tricky the Clown so much. It's not like,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Not like that. I like the other person where it's like 24/7. Like, I understand.
I tried to mix it up with other stuff I love, like Wonders Chosen, and trying to remember my own OC sometimes. And of course, I've been kind of referencing some stuff lately from other things. I mean, I've been redrawing Banana Split art again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I even drew one yesterday based off the new upcoming Jellystone series, which I'm really excited for. It's only coming out in about a few days from now.
That's cool. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I understand people don't like my art either. Like, they can get past that because I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not too crazy about some of the fetish work that other people do, and they might not be fond of mine, but like, it's really not that big of a deal. Because I mean, if you're nice enough to people and you treat people with respect, they can get past you having something they don't understand or don't really care for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible. But anyway, so what happened after is the same no matter what. His second server was gone, but what happened next was involving our DMs. It was between me and him. I kind of apologized to him, which is kind of a first, which is one of the few times I ever do apologize. Because there is another time I did apologize, and I did mention this in the Truth Bomb, is that of probably one of the lowest lights I ever did. It was the time I almost doxed Crystal Dark Rose 101. And just for context wise, this was back around like 2012 or 2011. So this was almost 10 years ago. I was like 14 or 15 or something when this happened, versus what I am now. I'm almost 24. So, and I came close to doing it, but I didn't do it because I realized, like, at that moment, this is fucking stupid. This isn't gonna get me anywhere. This is horrible. I'm being the dick here. So, and about 5 years later, I actually managed to apologize to her for that, and it felt good. It felt good to apologize, even though I still kind of make fun of her today, but taking it to that level was too far. And I've like all the videos I make and all the ones that I see now, I try to make sure I don't make the same mistakes. So I'm not perfect. I fuck up myself. So, but anyway, in the DMs, I apologized to him. One of the few times I ever did. And I told him, like, honestly, like, you need to consider getting therapy or leaving the internet for quite a while. And I'm not talking like just a few days. I'm talking like months, because you're going nowhere. I was speaking to him genuinely. Like, it wasn't Bag talking, and it wasn't Davis talking. It was Jake talking, which is my real fucking name. I wasn't playing a character, and I wasn't being edgy. I was being honest. Because people get that mixed up sometimes. Like when I'm in videos, I'm not myself. I'm a different entity. I'm a persona. So, and I think it's good that people understand there is a difference. But he was in DMs. He changed his name to Hiatus, and his account icon was completely blank. And I invited him to my server, just because it was still a work in progress, and it was only me and him on the server. And he started. It was like a day, or it was like a day after all this went down, and he was posting artwork on my server, which was just me and him. But
going back to the hiatus thing, though, because at some point he came into the VC on my best friend's server while still having the hiatus thing on, and he mentioned nobody was fucking, comforting him, which apparently I found out later was a lie, because I think Travis and Leo Lama were helping him around this time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he came in, and I had to explain to him why I couldn't do it, because, trauma. I used to try to help people, but they fucking dragged me. Like, it wasn't just online, but real life too. Like, they fucking dragged, like psychologically, or even in some cases physically hurt me. Mm-hmm. When I tried helping them, and that would result to me in either shaking, having a panic attack, or even crying while making the person feel better, or in rare cases much worse.
Yeah. But the thing is, the big thing that needs to be said is that he admitted to me, and I think he's admitted to other people, that he deleted his server out of guilt. He knew what he did. He knew he lied to me, and all this stuff. And the thing is, I was hurt myself. Like, I usually don't get hurt by internet bullshit, but this was a situation where I actually felt hurt. I felt down. Because, I put my time and even my own money towards this guy, and I was jebaited, basically. I was down. I think I even mentioned in my truth bomb that I would have a hard time actually doing the bad character. For the video, I did mention that he would be the next subject. It's him. And the thing is, I'm not his worst enemy. I'm not his worst. It's not JWB or Ruben or Candy or anyone else. Or even, you guys. It's him. It's his own fault. So,
on one hand, I kind of do feel bad, but at the same time, like I said, he kind of deserves what's coming to him, because if he never lied to you, this wouldn't happen at all.
Wouldn't. If he just got rid of the vent chat and stepped up his game, it would have ended differently. And that was what I wanted it to be, but that didn't happen. So even though my reassurance was like, okay, if either this could be the peak, this could be the game changer, it would have been a video of somebody actually learning from their mistakes and changing, or it could be a really kick-ass bag movie to go out with. But I mean, the bag movie thing is not what I wanted. I wanted to give him a chance. I wanted to show people that he could change and, be better, but he wasn't.
He had his chance, and guess what? He gobbled its balls.
Yep. Did you want to add anything, Mr. Anonymous?
Yeah. Like Eva said, I also feel bad for him, but at this point, it's also kind of mixed with apathy. Like, whatever happens, happens. Maybe he'll improve himself, maybe not. At this point, I do not care. I do want him to improve, but if he doesn't, well, we tried.
Yeah. It's the same thing on my end too. Like, I'll make jokes about him and I'll insult him and I'll say things about him. But I mean, the thing is, because people bring this up, and I've gotten this message before. It's like, if you go through with his video, he's going to kill himself. And I get this a lot. But the thing is, I tried to help him. And the thing is, I have my own standards and my own thing to do. Like, he's done the same thing that other people who I have talked about have done, and sometimes worse. Like, he's not the worst person on the planet, to be honest. Like, he hasn't killed anybody, so he's out of that range. But he's not somebody I'd want to be around, because he doesn't take responsibility. He doesn't try to fix anything. He wants the easy way out of everything, and he'll sit there and criticize other people for doing the same shit that he's doing, and it doesn't work. Like, you can't do stuff like that. You just can't.
Honestly, if he's watching this, I want him to know that it's never too late. Well, I mean, unless you kill or rape someone, but obviously he's not in need of those. It's never too late to make a change. Just stop bitching and start doing, okay? Don't say, just do it, okay?
And another thing too, K9, if you're also watching this, I don't hate you, dude. If anything, I'm just disappointed at you.
Mm-hmm.
Please, for the love of God, K9, from the bottom of my heart, please get some help. Do not think about hurting yourself. I've had these feelings too in the past myself, even going as far as to actually harming myself in the process. I do not want you to do the same thing like what I've done in the past.
Yeah, I don't want him to hurt himself either. I don't. I really don't. Because I mean, he's still got family and friends, and people care about him, and even his people there are still people who know about the situation. They're still on his side, and they're not on his side because they want to kiss his ass or anything. They're on his side because they want the same thing I wanted too. So I'm not oblivious to it either. I don't want him to make a choice that he can never recover from. All I wanted was to see him be better, but he pushed it away, and it's to that point where I can't get him to listen to me. So whatever happens just kind of happens. And it's a really horrible thing to say that, but some people you just can't help. And that's one of the things I've known about lolcows for a long time, is that most of them can't be helped. That's the really sad part. Some of these people at some point, even the ones that have the potential, like Terry A. Davis. And if you don't know who he is, he's the guy who did Temple OS, and he was a schizophrenic and he lived with his parents, and he was a brilliant, genius man. Like, I mean, he was undeniably talented. He made his own operating system to speak to God. And yeah, it's weird, but he did it all on his own, just one person, and that's incredible. But he lost himself to schizophrenia, and people started making fun of him. They started duping him, all this stuff. I mean, he went off his medication, he went crazy, homeless, and eventually he ended up dead. So, and I mean, he does have some decent traits. I will admit, Kex does. Like, I mean, he's even though I criticize his art a bit, he's still competent. He can still do a pretty good job. He's got an audience for his art for a reason, because he does a pretty decent job at what he does. I just wish that he would take the time to actually better himself and turn this stuff around, but I don't know if he can or not. I don't know.
Well, even though I'm Mr. Anonymous, I believe he can, and that it's not too late. He's still alive. He can still change, and really what he should do is just, try to prove that he can change. Like, I know he can, and he probably knows he can. He just needs to, actually apply himself. Like, we're not against you because we hate you or want to make fun of you. The exact opposite. We are against you because we wanted to help you, but you won't listen. We're not doing this to hurt you. We're doing this in a way to hope that you'll realize this and help yourself as well.
That's how it went. And after all this stuff happened, because I think we're starting to hit our peak here a bit, but I'm gonna try to wrap this up real quick. So days go by, I'm still down, and I start messaging people. I get DMs from you, Eva. I get ones from some of the other people on K9 server who came here, and we started talking about the things that K9 did. And I noticed that K9, just like in my predictions, I predicted that he would just start shit talking me for no reason. I remember he was in DMs with somebody else, and he just outright called me a dickhole. Like less than a week after this had already happened.
Yes.
So, and that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back on my end. But you want to say something, Eva?
Yes. When you think about it, when I mentioned in the first server about the idea that constantly bringing up that drama is going to make them actually side with the others, it turns out my prediction did come true.
Mm-hmm.
It actually did come true. Apparently, now people are mostly on Ruben and JWB's side right now, and now on your side.
Mm-hmm. And like, I know some people might say, why didn't you just follow your own advice about K9 being a lolcow when lolcows don't change? Because I like to see expectations be defied. And I really wanted to help this dude. Genuinely. Like I say it before, but when this whole thing happened, and I was down. I didn't know if I could actually pull the bad character off or not, because it made me sad, genuinely sad. I wasn't crying or anything. I was just so down. I'd have a hard time keeping up the I guess you can say kind of bubbly, insult, banter heavy bag character. But the people who came into the server and started talking about the things that he did, and compound that with the insult he left. And the people who still stick to his side, even though I feel like they're being lied to, and they know who they are because I've mentioned them and told them. I tried to warn them because, again, they're in that same boat I was, and I have a feeling that they're being disappointed right now and being lied to like I was and many others that came before. But like how you basically inadvertently revealed that about the event chat being deleted, you also gave me the courage and the strength I needed to confront K9, and that's where the fuck you bomb on Fur Affinity kind of came from. Especially whenever in private conversations about your personal life that you told me. I'm not going to bring them up now because we're recording. It gave me the courage I needed to confront him. So I can't I can't thank you enough for that, and also for the interview artwork you've been doing. So
no problem. I figured I cut you some slack because I understand you're busy with other projects right now, like Tears, and then the other interviewer, you're working for Ruben.
Yep. But, yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote. I don't really have anything else. Any of you two got final thoughts you want to share?
But basically, the point is, I started this fire, and now I just came clean about it. And hopefully K9 understands that, you know, this was not meant out of malice or anything, but to say I was just disappointed at all that he's done.
Yeah.
Same with me. Like, if he watched it to this point, if he even watched it at all, we just want you to get help, dude. Like, serious therapy help. Like, at whatever it takes, you need help, dude. Sorry, we're not trying to be mean. We're being as genuine as possible. Get help. This is not healthy. You are destroying yourself. You need help.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, he's still pretty young, so he's got time to do it, but he needs to make that decision quickly because it gets harder and harder by the day. So, and for my final thoughts on this whole thing, I didn't want things to go this way. I really didn't. Things would have been so much different if you just been truthful with me and didn't lie to me. But, you know, there's still time to turn things around. And it's not, and the thing is, you're going to have to do it without me because I'm not going to be able to see it. And honestly, I'm not going to really care a whole lot about it because I've tried. And the only thing you can really do about a lost cause is to better yourself and let it die. Let it deal with its own thing, because I can't control people, and I wouldn't be here, like, you know, insulting and making fun of you for all this stuff if you were just a little bit honest, because I did want us to be friends, but you pushed me away and you left me with no choice. And you know that you are guilty of this stuff, and you've been deflecting. And you've been doing exactly what I predicted. I didn't want my predictions to come true, but they have. And you've left me with no choice. Because I wanted to see you be better. Even if it didn't have to be like a grand scheme, completely pull yourself out of the gutter. I mean, it would have been a step forward just to do even the smallest details, like not leaking your private details out for everyone to see. Because, I mean, I know how that ends. And I did it because I was genuine. It would have been so much different if I came in with my old mentality from, like, 2013 or so that I originally wanted to keep with me. But I've had to mature and I've had to learn from my own mistakes. And, yeah, I've made plenty of mistakes. Mistakes people would potentially try to cancel me over. And probably will try. But you've left me with just no choice. And I do want you to get better, but I can't make you. So there's nothing else I can really do but just propose this story and talk about it so the same thing doesn't happen again. So
Before we end the interview, I do want to talk about something positive today, just so we don't leave on such a bummer note. And this really has nothing to do with K9, but this is really something I wanted to say. Can I go ahead and say it now?
do it.
Ever since I've joined your server bag, I've been a lot more confident of what I've been getting myself into and such. Unlike in K9's server, I mean, you guys made me more open to certain things like madness combat and more Newgrounds properties, and even letting me draw certain things that are not really out of my, not really that normal for me to do, because I don't normally try to be offensive with some of my work and all this other stuff. It basically made me more confident to draw certain things and even say certain things that normally I wouldn't say to the public.
Yep.
Because of the fact that I usually try not to be so offensive towards a crowd of people.
Yeah.
And not to mention, I've I feel a lot more safe being on your server, funny enough, than being on K9's, because it just feels more open compared to, like, not having to worry about constantly drawing a certain thing for somebody and whatnot. And I do hope that even after the K9 movie is released, there's people that are willing to stick to your server and whatnot, because I do have a scary feeling that people are only staying here just for the drama to end, but I'm hoping you'll still have the server open even after that whole video is released.
I intend to keep the server open as long as I can. And I wanted to do things K9 never did with his, like the whole events thing. And I wanted to stream and do VCs and make them more common so people can jump in and, you know, enjoy talking to me, because I know I seem scary to some people. Like I'm going to break into somebody's house and steal all their pickles or something because I doxed them. But that's not the case. Like I've been pretty nice with people. I've been pretty calm, and that's the way I want it to be.
But because of you, Bag, you made me a bit more open to talking to people and such. And I can't thank you enough for it.
I can't thank you enough for the artwork. And I can't thank you enough for being in most VCs that I do, because I notice you're almost always the first one there, or usually the one who starts them. And I enjoy talking to you, and I'm very happy for you. I'm very happy with your weight loss journey. I'm rooting for you. I'm cheering you on. Like, even though I don't really consider people online like true and honest friends, you come very, very close to making me rethink that idea I've had for so long. So
yeah, because I have a best friend online that I've known for pretty much 7 years of my life. He and I had our ups and downs, and we've been friends since our late teens, early adulthood, and whatnot. I mean, we both share similar interests together, and sure, we have had our disagreements and such, and all that other stuff that's happened, but we mostly stick to each other, and there's going to be a time in my life eventually I'm going to want him to come to Texas and eventually visit me and whatnot, even if it's just for a day. I'm willing to make his day extra special with him, so I will show him around town and all this amazing stuff we have to offer.
And finally meet in person. Well, I'm gonna say this right now on record. I hope you two do. I hope you two do get together and live a very happy life. And maybe if you need a little bit of money to get him here, or maybe you can head with him wherever he's at, maybe I'd throw a few dollars your way and make that dream a reality.
Fortunately, my parents just rather have him visit Texas because they have told me some history of South Carolina. So I think it would be better if we just have him visit, but I gotta introduce him to my dad first.
Well,
before we can make all of this happen, and I'm willing to save my money so that way I can actually get a plane ticket. So I accept your offer, but I think I'll handle it from here.
Well, if you ever change your mind and I got some extra money lying around, I don't mind to help a good friend out. So
I'll keep that in mind. But again, thank you for the offer.
You're welcome. Did you want to end anything off with us, Mr. Anonymous?
Well, I would love to, but, most of the stuff I would love to say right now might give away my identity, so I'm forced to keep quiet right now. Sorry. But yeah, it was nice talking to you, Bag. I won't give away too much of my identity, but like Eva, I was a bit nervous coming here as well, but you proved to be a very nice person, and I'm glad to have met you.
Hey, I'm glad to meet you guys too. And you guys are always welcome here to talk or anything else. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon. So
yeah, I gotta go to work tomorrow, but yeah, I'll probably be available tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. That's if because you said you have another interview you're doing. So
yep,
I'll at least try to do a VC for the others, for the people who won't be attending that interview.
Yep. Well, anyway, I'm going to hit our stop button right now. I hope the viewers enjoyed this and hope it was informative to them. And I will see you when the next one drops. You all take care now.